Hello, everyone. Recording a new podcast for this week, and we have, or I have, three other guests with me this time. We have Murray. Say hello.
Hello.
We have Thoughtful Salt, or Kyle. I don't know what.
Pow! Right in the kisser.
And Archon.
Faggot.
Okay, so we want to start out with the first topic at hand, which is Apple's diversity officer. Basically, I don't know what you want to call it. Had to step down or getting fired. I'm just gonna read this short article and then share your perspectives on this. Here we go. Apple's diversity chief is stepping down after only 6 months on the job, after causing an outcry by saying that being a minority or a woman are not the only criteria for diversity, according to reports. Denise Young Smith, who was named Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion in May, made controversial comments last month during a One Young World Summit in Bogota, Colombia. There can be 12 white, blue-eyed blonde men in a room, and they're going to be diverse too because they're going to bring a different life experience and life perspective to the conversation. The inaugural diversity chief said, "Diversity is a human experience," she said, according to Quartz. "I get a little bit frustrated when people of color or the women to the people of color or the women or the LGBT." Oh, that's a weird quote. Her comments appeared to defend Apple's overwhelmingly white and male leadership at a time when the company's makeup is markedly uneven. The 20-year Apple veteran, who previously served as the company's head of worldwide human resources, later apologized for her remarks, telling the staff that they were not representative of how I think about diversity or how Apple sees it. "For that, I'm sorry," she said in an email. "More importantly, I want to assure that you, Apple's view and our dedication to diversity has not changed." Smith will leave the company at the end of the year. TechCrunch reported taking as VP of Inclusion and Diversity will be Christy Smith, who spent 17 years as a principal at Deloitte. Okay. "We deeply believe that the diversity drives innovation," an Apple spokesman told TechCrunch in a statement. "We're thrilled to welcome an accomplished leader like Christy Smith to help us continue the progress we've made toward a more diverse workplace." Unlike her predecessor, Christy Smith will not report directly to CEO Tim Cook, but rather to Human Resources, blah, blah, blah. In 2017, only 3% of Apple's leaders were black, and women held just 23% of tech jobs. According to Fortune, female leadership stood at 29%, Apple said. Meaningful change takes time, the company said in its diversity report. "We're proud of our accomplishments, but we have much more work to do." What are your thoughts?
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go
It's all bullshit. Why? Because the number you have to have either complete 50-50 split of people entering the field in order for there to be 50-50 split in actuality, or, well, that's basically the only thing. Or you have to basically just punch up and basically add far more people into leadership positions than are actually represented in the workforce. If numbers of graduates in certain tech fields are be believed, I believe like a 25% representation of women and minorities combined in tech overall at the moment. And you simply can't have a 50-50 split of, let's say, women and males at the top, not even including minorities, if there aren't 50-50 split below in the numbers below, in the filling up the positions below the top positions. I mean, if you anything that that comes to represent that sort of weird inverted pyramid, kind of is almost doomed.
This whole quota initiative of these big companies is just wasted, if you're asking me.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really fair to say that she's going to be stepping down. I think her hand was forced. I mean, obviously we have nothing to prove that, but it seems to be in these cases that any time where someone is stepping down, it's very rarely their choice to step down. It's almost always the upper management is like, "Hey, we've had a lot of backlash, and it's probably best for you to step down, but we'll let you do it on your own terms, type of thing.
Yeah, we're kicking you upstairs.
Right.
I mean, this quote here is really telling how this can be a wrong thing. There can be 12 white, blue-eyed, blonde men in a room, and they're going to be diverse too, because they're going to bring a different life experience and a life perspective to the conversation. A diversity is the human experience.
Yeah, but it's the shunt. I have this thing called the shunt principle. What even if you magically pushed 50% of positions in leadership to women and minorities, especially minority women, where are the rest of those white men gonna go? They aren't just gonna leave the industry just because some minority decides, hey, I want to go into tech too. You don't get to live your dream job because I want to go in there first. Too bad, you angry white incel. I get that job, not you, because I'm a minority and I deserve to be in there. And what are those white men going to do? They're not just going to leave the industry. No, they're going to either go and form their own companies, and they'll be leadership in those companies, which will only continue the problem, or some serious backlash will start to result from these people who feel like they're getting wronged for something that they can't help, really. So until you get, like I said, 50-50 at least split of women and minorities combined going into tech in the first place from the bottom up, you're just quotaing or adding or making sure that diversity is the main thing for your company to be is dumb. It's just dumb.
It's basically tokenism.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I mean, where are those white men going to go?
Could you repeat what was the quota that they needed to be met? Was it simply male, female, or was it European, Asian, African American?
No, there's no. That's the thing. They didn't state anything like that. The only thing
but they were quoting the statistics.
Yeah, here in 2000,
less than 30%.
Yeah, I could quote it.
30% of leadership positions were held by women or or minorities.
Yeah, I can quote.
So they're acting like the 70% that is made up of men, at least 70%. It could be as high as 90%, which I believe. Is the worst thing possible because women and minorities aren't leading the companies. So that's almost asking for invisibly a quota. They're basically saying, hint, hint, you need to have a quota.
I can repeat the two sentences. In 2017, only 3% of Apple's leaders were black, and women held just 23% of tech jobs. According to Fortune, female leadership stood at 29%. Apple said.
Yeah. So it's like I said, 70. They're looking at those numbers and they're saying, that's wrong. It should represent the population at large. Well, then have the percentage of the population at large get into tech. Otherwise, you're just screaming at a cloud.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
No, this it seems to say, hey, more women and minorities who aren't interested in this tech stuff, go ahead and start spending a lot of money on things you're not interested in and won't be happy in, so we can hire you in token leadership jobs, so you can be part of our virtue signaling campaign.
Yeah, if these people aren't interested, if women aren't interested, let's just give an example. In gaming, there's this famous there's a couple of politicians. There's a lot of quotes I've been reading saying when video games started focusing on killing, they became largely male focused and everything, and girls started to become less interested in games. Well, I would argue, hey, you could always buy the games that aren't focused on violence, and then maybe the industry will respond and start making more female-oriented games. But they're not. They're not buying them in large enough numbers for publishers and developers to give a damn. So you have all these AAA games geared toward the male audience because they're buying the games that they want to buy. Whereas women and minorities, they always say they want these games, they want this sort of game, but they're not buying the ones that already exist in large enough numbers for the industry to give a damn about them.
Yeah, if anything, they focus on games like the freemium games. You have the Farmville and the
mobile games and stuff like that.
Community games, basically.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sorry to sound like a rant there, but God, that's the issue at large. They want what they aren't. They want the rewards of efforts that they aren't making.
Okay, I think we've said everything we're gonna say on this topic. We had Moore and Blaine join us kind of perfectly because the big topic of this podcast is gonna be about Star Wars and the entire thing. Now, Murray, you actually had the topics of discussions of the different topics within this clusterfuck. I don't know how better to describe it. So do you want to start out with the first topic of these several topics on Battlefront? So we have the gratuitous ways of pay to win on Battlefront 2. So just a quick introduction for those who haven't followed the entire Battlefront discussion or controversy. Basically, people have been outraged by a number of things like the microtransactions, the loot boxes, the progression systems, and we're gonna go into depth into this now. So Murray, go ahead. What you mean by the gratuitous pay-to-win model?
All right. So as you all might know, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has recently been released, and people are not happy about the reward system because a lot of characters are either demanding extreme long, a lot of hours to unlock. Some person made a calculation that you had need roughly 4,000 hours of game time to unlock everything.
Sorry, 40 hours.
No, for everything.
40 hours per character or something like that. But he made a calculation that on average you're gonna need like 4,000 hours to unlock everything, all the characters.
Yeah, over 4,000 hours or $2,100.
Mm-hmm. And so the pay to win I mentioned there is basically you can upgrade yourself with items and you can unlock characters by paying money basically. Unless you grind. The alternative is to grind for it, and people aren't happy. We're going to go into detail on what the fallout of this is, but basically the whole the whole idea of you can make a game that has things that you need to pay for after having bought the game. Sure, not everyone's gonna like it, but you can have things like cosmetics, things that aren't upgrades. And make the game monetizable that way. But EA basically, or DICE maybe, I think DICE under the rule of EA basically decided that they're gonna have all the characters, Han Solo, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, etc. Everything is gonna be behind a paywall. And since there's so many hours you need to unlock them, most people are probably going to pay for the money. So yeah, anyone want to chime in, just feel free.
Well, my issue with a pay to win model is the publishers have pushed gamers to a boiling point, and EA finally pissed the gamers off that much that it's incredible that nobody thought this was a bad idea, that you can put in a loot box system and a pay to win system in a fully priced game, and I think it's acceptable to any sort of degree, and adding the grinding as well. How the hell is it acceptable to not buy anything and play for 40 hours and then just to get one character? Like, no, I'm all for earning stuff, but even when they put the prices down, they also put what you earned less. So it's basically they didn't change anything, just the prices, and they have a cap. They have a daily cap of what you can earn. So there's a 3-hour cooldown. That's a free to play model for a $60 game. What the fuck?
Well, that was pretty interesting. So during the outrage, EA decided to lower the price of the each item. But however, what they didn't tell you is that you also need to grind more. You get less rewards at the same time. So I think they lowered the price to 75% or something like that. However, they
Yeah.
also require you to grind more to for set items. And people are also upset about the whole loot box system since it's a bit of a gambling system. I'm not sure if the gambling is involved with paying money, but the things you get basically are you get loot boxes with random rewards, so you can basically see what happens there. So what happened was, I think it was not just Belgium, but they started the Belgium Gaming Commission. They started to investigate the whole deal partially about Battlefront 2, but also about the loot boxes in Overwatch, because they have random rewards, and they were sort of looking into the whole thing. Since it's a game for younger people as well as older people, you can't really have a gambling system without paying taxes for that in Belgium, which I don't think EA has done. Or
you other guys just chime in, because I'm gonna probably be a little bit ranty regarding this.
It was the Dutch gambling authority has launched an investigation as well. So it was the Netherlands and Belgium. I've got the article here if you want me to type it in the Discord.
Well, it's interesting that people are saying that, oh, this isn't gambling according to the definition of gambling. Definitions can change over time. This is one situation where it's been present in the mobile gaming scene for a while. It hasn't been present to a large enough extent or with as high a profile up till this point. So now that we have this tipping point, maybe this will be added to the definition of gambling in the future. And maybe that'll cause more states to take a look into it more deeply.
I don't see how it's not gambling.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, like, just look at Overwatch, for example. You spend a certain amount of money, you get a certain EU, and you open that crate, and out pops just nothing but 4 sprays, right? And you paid money for that box.
Yeah, it's pretty much gambling. You can't say it's not gambling because you always get something.
Yeah, you know what? If they had this system and they had alongside it a system where you could buy the exact items you want, but they were just more expensive, and you could perhaps buy a loot box and maybe gamble that you could get one of those higher priced items in it, I think that would be a better deal. But I haven't seen a game use that kind of model, so I'm not sure if that would be gambling either. But the way things are currently implemented in mobile gaming and Overwatch, even all the way up to Star Wars Battlefront 2, I mean, it's hard to argue that it's not gambling in that sense of the word.
Yeah, and like a lot of, well, just about every country has its gambling laws, right? So I can't see how it's a thing that you can put in games when kids can get a hold of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous.
But kids can get a hold of anything. I mean,
They can't go into. What I mean is by that is like they can't go into like a gambling casino or something, right? So why is it okay to give them access to something that's very similar in a game?
Part of the problem thing too, and I don't know how this is in the rest of the world, but a lot of like parents in America are like the lazy type of parents that'll just like put their kids in front of the TV to spend the time instead of actually actually being there for them. And so like you'll hear stories here and there. Like I don't remember how long ago this was, probably within the last year or so. There was a story, at least near me, of this woman losing like hundreds and thousands of dollars because her daughter was buying shit on some mobile game that she was playing, and I don't remember what the game was, but it was some like mobile game. And she literally got a hold of her mom's debit card and put the information in and bought a bunch of shit. Yep. And she was like 7. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think there should be something done about it, because it's not... I mean, you get responsible parents and not responsible parents. And it's sort of the parents' fault, but still to have that in something that is not got a proper age rating on it, that's irresponsible of like company that makes the game, right?
I'm
Because
yeah, it's a dodgy situation. That's
these games are like 12 and up, aren't they? Like most of them.
well, an argument like could be said to count to against that, saying like, well, if you don't like loot boxes, just don't buy the game. Unfortunately, what one of the big problems is even if a large percentage of people decide not to buy the game because of this loot box system, people still spend obscene amounts of money. Whales and
The
stuff.
whales of the gaming industry.
The whales. The only person that EA needs to grab a hold of is just a few of those whales, and they'll pay for literally thousands of gamers.
I think that's why they've done it in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if like tens of thousands of gamers decide to boycott. Just a few people, rich enough or ignorant enough, can make up for all those lost gamers. So saying stuff like "just don't buy the game," that barely makes a impact on a game that has this sort of business model.
Yeah, and there is the newest news is that they've dumped the loot box system right now. So you can't use money right now because they put a stop to it. But
Yeah,
it
so
does
that-
say they're going to bring it back.
So that's
and I
what.
don't trust EA. It's
Oh.
just going to be like the first 2 weeks of sales. Everyone knows that's your biggest payout, right? They're going to put a stop to it for that time. Everyone goes, "Oh, they fixed it." Jumps on the game, right? And then 2 weeks later, they'll just put it all back in. I'm so cynical about EA because EA's
Yeah.
just awful.
That was actually one of the talking points I was going to bring up. EA has temporarily removed the transactions altogether. However, there is a bit of a text in the message that they left here. I'm going to quote it directly. So here's what it says. We hear you loud and clear. So we're turning off all in-game purchases. We will now spend more time listening, adjusting, balancing, and tuning. This means that the option to purchase crystals in the game is now offline, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. And here's the interesting bit: the ability to purchase crystals in game will become available at a later date, only after we've made changes to the game. We'll share more details as we work through this. So it's obvious that they're not going to have it permanently turned off. They're going to
it's temporary. And something just pointing out regarding the whales. Usually the whales aren't just rich people who are bored. It's also the streamers who get paid basically to unpack all of these and YouTube videos where they earn twice or several times on what they spend. And now
Those misleading, right? They can game the system, or the EA can game the system for them, right?
Yeah, and then now you actually have a level playing field, but the progression system is still the same. The loot box system is gonna come back. The microtransactions are gonna come back. Now, the only reason I had an open mind before all of this was that they said that they were gonna release free DLC. But what is the point of the free DLC if you basically have to pay to get them, or spend like hundreds of hours just to get the characters of the DLC?
Just to get full enjoyment of the game. It's why people have such an issue with the premium model in Battlefield. It's because, well, you're just separating the community from the haves and the have-nots, right? I mean, the people who have the characters are going to dominate absolutely everyone. The people who have the star cards are going to dominate absolutely everyone. So the people who don't have the star cards are going to have a miserable experience, or they're going to spend money to catch up to those people who have stuff. So it's a lose-lose for gamers, basically, unless they're incredibly rich or incredibly stupid and ignorant with their money.
Yeah, and what I noticed regarding the star cards was that they are pretty significant in their design regarding their microtransaction, because they have quite a significant bonus. It's not like you can get some type of weapons, which basically just means skills. But in regarding the star cards, you can actually get better aim. You can resist more shots and things like that. That's pay to win. that's literally pay to win. So you can buy like say spend $200 and you're pretty much gonna own everyone else with those star cards.
And even if you manage to get one of those upgrades in a pack that you earn through gameplay and stuff, that's luck, but it's the type of luck that incentivizes you to buy more packs in order to get that same amount of luck. So, in the end, everyone is incentivized to buy more packs, buy more credits to basically stay as lucky as they thought they were.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the EA pulling the microtransactions, though, is that Disney is rumored to have put their foot down and said, "Get rid of the shit right now, or else we're pulling your license for Star Wars." And that is interesting to me, which means the microtransactions may never come back if Disney has actually been involved in this sort of thing, because EA probably won't want to lose their license. My fingers, of course, but.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I think it was maybe a bit of both. There was the backlash. There was predictions of the game not selling well, and the investors got a bit thingy about it. There was the governments, the two governments that were coming in to have a look. It's really put a panic up them, I think. And they've went, maybe this time we've went too far. I just still don't trust them though. I think they'll bring it back, and like maybe it's another tactic that they went too far, and they knew they went too far, just for the outrage to happen, and then they can cut it back a wee bit and get away with it, and say, "Look, guys, we fixed it."
Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do. That even Disney gonna see like, hey, this is a really good thing. It's just that right now it's not good because people are angry, and we should probably wait until they're not so angry to do it. Because Disney likes money.
Just wait. Just wait, EA. Trust us. When you bring back these microtransactions, we'll just make up a fake Twitter account and claim we're receiving death threats while working on your game. That'll deflect all attention away from it. Trust me.
The only thing that could really put a like serious damper on these things becoming a like main thing in the games or just any game in general is if like then it might actually start being like, okay, now what do we do?
Now we have to face the law.
Yeah.
So let me just read out something. Here, someone calculated the amount of time that it would take to unlock everything in the game, and it comes to 4,528 hours or $2,100. And here is the most disliked comment in Reddit history. The last one was at 23 or 24,000. This one is currently at 678,000 downvotes. So here's the actual comment. The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis. We'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course attainable via gameplay. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as often as we can.
Okay.
But Andrew Doll, that criticism doesn't matter because this fake developer got a death threat.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so the first bit of issue here, the quote "pride and accomplishment" is basically bullshit. Okay, if you wanted a sense of pride and accomplishment, you wouldn't have characters locked behind a paywall. The only way to get them then would be to pay those 40 hours per character, play those 40 hours per character. and to basically tell us that it's a pride and accomplishment thing. No, it's not. You want the money, and you're making it a time grind fest in order to encourage people to just buy the damn thing.
Yep. It's exactly what they're doing.
I mean, is that unlock permanent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because if it was just like a temporary thing, then that would be even worse.
Don't give them ideas, man.
Don't give them ideas to.
Like 40 hours just to play Vader in one game, and then you gotta play another 40 hours.
Well, the whole gambling system has now recently been called Skinner boxes because there's a lot of psychological like science that was discovered by Skinner. I think 1950s or 60s, something like that. I may be mistaken there, but it's basically getting people. He compared this with mice, and I found out that this is how the gambling system works. So it should be called Skinner boxes because that's what they really are. They are gambling.
I get the feeling, man. I unlocked a rare skin for the M1911 in Battlefield 1 called the Care Package, and I was super stoked when I unlocked it. I was like, oh, damn! So the psychological effects of winning something like that in a progression system like that, with loot boxes or just grinding towards numbers and stuff and grinding towards unlocks, the psychological effect is real. And EA are bastards for trying to capitalize on that to the utmost like this. Like Star Wars Battlefront 2, I'm hoping this incident goes down as one of the most influential in the gaming industry, because either we see real change from this due to government stepping in, or we don't, and people and companies just keep on trying to shove this down our throats, and eventually we just acquiesce and, hey, you pay for every single footstep you take in the world.
Yeah, wasn't it one of the was it Activision or EA, one of the head guys? They said, "Yeah, shut up. Just be lucky we don't charge you for bullets."
Yeah, I remember that. Oh dear God!
I don't know if it was EA or Activision. It was one of them.
It was
that in a game like Stalker.
It was a manager at EA. I don't know where in the company he was. I think it was at the PR side or something like that. He said, "Just be glad we aren't charging you for the bullets."
That's a bad PR guy. I wouldn't be hiring him for shit.
Yeah, I can't remember where in the company he was, but I remember that quote specifically because I actually just looked up the quote, and it was someone from EA. And also the next subtopic regarding this, where Murray wrote, is the Metascore and the user score on Metacritic.
Just a quick thing. We skipped the one point there, but
we can go back to it.
Point also. This is a minor thing, but they had a daily limits on how many credits you could earn.
Yeah,
in the game.
I mentioned it earlier.
If you play
yeah,
arcade mode, you can't do that all the time because you got to switch over to other modes in order to get all your daily, allotments. Just a side note.
It's basically a time limit like free-to-play games have on mobile or it's a common tactic there, and they have this much the cojones that they want to have a limit on Battlefront on how much you can earn. It's disgusting.
On a $60 game.
Basically, the worst things you get in premium games now in a $60 game.
Yeah.
Go EA. Well done.
Well,
anyway,
I mean, going to the Metacritic and stuff, like it's hovering below 1 out of 10 on Metacritic on the user score.
Something 6.
Yeah.
Here, I actually have the site. Oh crap! The video was playing.
I've seen screenshots, but I haven't seen the actual user score.
Yeah, I have it up now. So the Metascore at the moment, based on 34 critics, is 73, and the user score, this is PlayStation 4, is 0.8, with 5,044 ratings.
And you know what? If this were an indie game, the indie game developer will be crying harassment right now because of that low score.
Oh yeah, if they were like a bunch of developers from not America.
Yeah. Basically, any indie developer, if a lot of people went on to their Metacritic page and basically said this game gets a 0 out of 10, like enough times, they'll be crying, harassment! You shouldn't be allowing people to rate our games this low based on their subjective opinions. Wait, what? I think you're kind of like contradicting yourself. No! Anyone who criticizes my game is harassing me.
On Xbox One, the rating is even lower, but there's fewer reviews. There's 412 reviews with an average now on 0.5.
Not 0.5. I can't be mistaken in assuming that that's literally the lowest possible score on the Xbox One in its history.
This is interesting, by the way.
There was one that was a 0.3.
Which one was that?
The Xbox One.
Yeah, but which one was that?
No, the console.
Oh, I thought what game was that though?
Battlefront.
Oh, okay.
This is fascinating, by the way, the thing with the whole user score thing. Usually when a game has some kind of atrocious thing like a paywall or something that doesn't work, like they're missing the dedicated servers in Call of Duty or whatever, usually they have these people coming out and doing the 0 out of 10 user score spam thing. But in this case, but they usually result in like a 3 out of 10 or something like that. In this case, it's actually below the 1 score. I think it's pretty unprecedented in terms of how low the score is.
Like I said, I could be wrong in assuming this, but I think that's literally, if it's not the lowest user score in Metacritic history for a game, it's in the top. It's in the bottom 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the PC score is 0.8.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the same on PlayStation and on PC.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because a fake developer got a death threat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We should be talking about that more.
It's gonna be later because I want to talk about it specifically. But we're gonna cover it a little bit later. But I just wanna, if it's gonna load for me, just 2 of the user reviews on Metacritic, because right now from the regular critics, it sits around like 71 on Xbox, 72 on PC, and it's a 74 on PlayStation 4. But there are the lowest score are like 6 out of 10.
That just shows you how fucked video game reviews are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The discrepancy is a very common issue, I feel, when it comes to. I mean, even if it's. I mean, in this case, given there is a user score that is being bound with 0s out of 10, right? And I guess that's. I can sort of understand the discrepancy there. However, there are games where people are giving genuine scores, and where I find a discrepancy between the reviewer score and the user score, and I find this kind of interesting how they are so out of touch with the actual gamers.
No, video game review scores have always been damn inflated.
Yeah.
Video game reviewers have to be ashamed of themselves at this point, but no, they always seem to insist reviews are subjective. As if they absolve.
Yeah, just one example. IGN Spain gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
But the other thing is, like, everyone that I've seen that's played it says the game's actually not too bad. So if they didn't have the loot boxes and stuff, and it wasn't all fucked, then the game might have actually been quite good.
Yeah, let me read out 2 of the user reviews, which I find interesting. And this is from Max Wilso. Disney is now teaching children about gambling with this half-made pay-up-front freemium mobile game that's played on a console/PC. Not only are none of the content available for you, it will take you a total of $2,100 to unlock everything. You can earn in-game currency, but it's limited to 1 hour per day. So while it takes 40 hours to unlock one character, you also have to include the cooldown to earn said credits. So that 40 hours could easily add up to 200 hours just because it's another Star Wars games. Does not mean what you will pay for will be a quality product. Even the campaign is an incomplete mess. Cons: pay to win loot boxes, 40 hours per character with daily cooldowns. Games costs $2,160, not $60. EA has always been a terrible publisher. Campaign is garbage. Multiplayer will be based on who has the bigger wallet. Do not support these business practices. This is a bad game. It's not even worth the $10 when it's in the discount bin next year. There's also a shorter one. The loot boxes are not being fixed. EA told their investors this will not impact earnings. Bottom line is playing this game is painful. It's a bit more polished than the first, but the progression system is so slow it makes playing it chore. Progression tied to loot crate is not something I will support. Got a refund from Microsoft. Only reason they put the microtransactions on hold is because Disney smacked them.
Disney bitch slapped them. The House of Mouse went to town on them. Sent their armies of lawyers.
Yeah. So this is an interesting point, I feel, the whole deal with the user score. So if you're the kind of guy who wants to play Battlefront and you feel like you want to play basically the multiplayer only, you're not in it for the single player. You have no reason to buy the multiplayer. You have no reason to buy Battlefront for the multiplayer because it's going to be pay to win. You're going to play a game against people who paid money to get the actual good characters. And also there was this instance of a guy who played this thing called Hero Arena, I think it was called, where you only have to play where you can only play as heroes. He couldn't join the game because the heroes that he had unlocked was unavailable to him. And so I feel like, when things like that happen, that is actually justifying a reduction of the score to that point, I feel. When
But
the
he's
game
so low, Han Solo. He's so low, Han Solo.
Oh God.
So the whole game is a mess, even though it might have good graphics, it's probably well polished in all the different issues in terms of mechanics and and just overall gameplay. But since the whole monetary system basically screws the game over, it
But you have to imagine that the
massive reduction of the
reviewers.
score.
You have to imagine that the game reviewers also didn't have to go through the loot crate system when they were when they were scoring the reviews too, right?
Yep.
So you imagine how much the scores were skewed by that.
Seemingly they got access to a certain amount of money, and they were a lot cheaper than they were when it launched. So the review, or the review box, or whatever they get, the review game was a bit different from what actually came out.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. Seemingly the loot boxes weren't as expensive, and they actually got credits to spend anyway for free. So how can you review a game based on something that's not going to be in the game?
But that's why I see. Let me just check to be 100% correct. I don't see IGN, GameSpot. Oh, IGN did post a review yesterday.
Is that the Spain one though?
No, that's actually the main one. I don't see GameSpot, Polygon, Kotaku, or any of them that have reviewed
Not that
them.
I would care what any of the latter
No.
scores would be, but
There-
it is admirable that GameSpot is holding back its review, I guess.
Yeah. Let me read out something that is tied to the release. I linked the article in the chat. So, Wall Street is freaking out as EA caves again to social media outrage over its Star Wars game. Investors are now worried the controversy over Electronic Arts Star Wars Battlefront 2 in-game monetization model will hurt the video game sales. The escalation of EA concessions over the past month are a potential negative indicator of pre-order sales trends and overall unit confidence. Bank of America Merrill American Merrill Lynch analyst Justin Post writes, EA stock is down by 7% month to date through Thursday compared with S&P 500 0.4 gain. I'm not gonna go through the entire thing, just the latter half. EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 officially launches on Friday. This is before the game launched, by the way. But portions of the game went live on November 9th for the company's EA Access Origin Access subscribers. The company's shares declined 2.5% Friday. Here's the quote. The escalation of EA's concessions over the past month are a potential negative indicator of pre-order sales trends and overall unit confidence. In-game purchases benched the night before launch. So basically, the stock has tanked, and the confidence in the company has dwindled, or yeah, it's basically Disney saying you better, you have to sort your shit out.
To fix this before you tarnish our brand, you dicks.
Yeah, I don't know who said this. I believe someone mentioned an anonymous source talking about how Disney basically EA for the release of Battlefront 2. And that's sort of interesting. So yeah, but their stock has tanked, or rather it went down rather significantly.
7% is quite a lot.
They're basically
For that such
that back.
Yeah, but for such a big company, it's quite significant.
And the thing that I found interesting, I think it was this is from a Swedish news page. I don't remember the source, but basically they mentioned that EA might lose their monopoly on the Star Wars franchise, making Star Wars games. Disney might actually employ another development or another distributor of games to handle Star Wars besides EA.
Which would be good.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that would be a really good thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And I feel like, bring it.
Bring it on.
Because right now, I have no confidence in what EA is doing, and Disney is seeing this with this. I kind of want to segue this into something that really pissed me off, which was in relation to this, and I said we were going to touch on this, and that was the fake EA developer who claimed he was getting death threats and harassment, who turned out to be fake. And again, where is are the ethical guidelines for these websites for this to even be published on sites like Kotaku? Because
Kotaku didn't back down on this news? They didn't correct them or amend it?
Kotaku's Jason Schreier, and as much as I hate Kotaku personally, Jason Schreier did a good one for everyone here. Mm-hmm. And he uncovered the fake developer. But the thing that pisses me off the most about this, Patrick fucking Klepek, who I call Kelp, and who frankly everyone should call fucking Kelp, basically, I have the notion in my head that he basically said, you know what, I bet someone's gonna had to have gotten death threats over this. So he probably had on his search bar death threats, EA developers, and basically typed it in to support his preconceived notions of gamers, and basically went on the attack on gamers. Because this guy got death threats, that means every single gamer is responsible for it. And basically the criticism against EA doesn't matter because this guy got death threats.
Right.
Yeah,
let's not vet this piece of interesting news.
So he wrote that article, and he basically accused gamers of being complicit in harassment, basically. And then after the guy was found out to be fake, he added a correction to his article saying, "We know this guy was fake, but we started a conversation anyways." So
yeah.
That's why I call him fucking Kelp.
Yeah.
But but this next thing is where I'm gonna rant a little bit. because regarding Boogie, I'm gonna read out his tweets, and I got really fucking pissed at this. So he had a screenshot of the tweet, which says, "So I'm up to 7 death threats, over 1,600 individual personal attacks now, and yes, for legal reasons, I'm keeping track." That should be a warning sign right there. Nobody should go out publicly as saying how many. That's the first thing police say you shouldn't do. You fucking idiots. And why, you might ask? Because of an unpopular feature in a game. So this is what Boogie says. Let me link it so you can actually see what the guy wrote. So in his first tweet, "This is why no one takes our reasonable requests seriously. This is why developers hate us. This is why they don't care if they screw us over. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we are attacked by progressives every day. This is why media hates us. This is why many of us are afraid to call ourselves gamers. This is why Francis exists, to mock these people. This is why some men and women won't date us. This is why you have to do better. This is why you have to grow up." And follow-up tweet, "I've always felt that way, whether it be gamers or Christian, Republican, progressive, or anything else. You often represent the whole when you label yourself as a thing. You have to set a good example as often as you can." So I'm gonna say...
In other words, all gamers are responsible for every fucking death threat ever.
Yeah, so just let me rant a little bit here. So this fucker, I'm not, I don't care what I sound like, but this fucker has been on the fucking fence regarding Gamergate and everything, and now suddenly when something that has not even been verified yet, he just goes and labels every fucking gamer like the gamers don't have to be your audience, gamers are dead. This is what he's essentially saying, and this shit right here, this is why some men and women won't date us. Fuck you. This is really some fucked up shit you're doing here. You're using collectivist fallacies on on millions of people and saying this is why you have to do better. I don't have to do shit. I haven't sent any death threats whatsoever, ever. And I don't have to grow up. Fuck you. Because this is what made Gamergate even happen. But because of fucktards like him, who can't take a fucking side of people being unethical and doing shitty things, and then blaming all gamers for wanting to enjoy a hobby and wanting transparency and just want to have the truth. So fuck him.
Cheers.
God.
Yay. Yep. And
It's such a far-fetched thing to assume that the gamers the gaming community as a whole. I don't even call it a community. I call it a cabal of communities, like several communities, millions almost.
Yeah, there's the FGC. There's a shooter community.
That all of those people, they're all into this. They're all into this. They're all okay with this. They're all supporting this because he did it, not because they're saying, not. People might be saying that this guy is full of shit, whoever sent those death threats, and I bet a lot of people are. But no, that's probably not enough for this guy. I don't know.
Well, another thing that this Boogie and, of course, gaming media forgets is that the gaming community really doesn't exist as a cohesive whole. I mean, You have communities for every single different game out there, and considering there are tens of thousands of friggin' video games, and not to mention there are communities around different aspects of different video games, I mean, you really can't say, but all gamers are responsible for this, and this, and what we can't even agree on what friggin' color, friggin' Ken or Ryu's headband should be. I mean, how do you think any one community should be responsible for what happens when some asshat who also maybe happens to play a video game every once in a while sends a disconcerting tweet someone's direction? I mean, come on, grow up, Boogie. That was the most childish thing you could have said.
My question to Boogie is, what do you expect? What do you want us to do? How do you expect this to play out? Okay, we have one person who sent out a death threat. We don't even know if it's credible, if it's if there's some guy from Baphomet doing this or whatever. And what do you expect to happen? You have one person who fell through the cracks and acted like a shitface. So and what do you expect us to do about it? Like
Yeah,
everyone
do
else.
you expect us to literally haunt everybody's keyboards, and even if they even think about saying "fuck you" to someone else, you have to say no. You're not allowed to say that. Every single time someone in the universe thinks about doing that, there's 6 billion people on the planet. Good luck policing the thoughts and intentions of every single one of those people, let alone like any random shit-faced gamer who someone could get randomly drunk and decide to send a fucking threatening tweet to someone. How are you supposed to control that?
Yeah.
That's the question no one has been able to answer since the beginning of Gamergate. How is anyone supposed to control any of these threats and stuff? And how if they can't control it, how are you supposed to hold everyone else responsible for it?
Here.
Yeah.
Fuck. That was a rant.
I think it's weird that I'm sure book writers and movie people get death threats, but no one calls out everyone that watches a movie or reads a book.
I mean, Jesus Christ, we can't even agree on the game of the year, for fuck's sake. Like, people have so stubborn opinions on what they think was the game of the year. So and there are so many, as you mentioned, Salt, that there are so many different communities. There's the FGC, or if you have like the big communities, you have the shooter community, you have the RPG community, and then you have subgroups in those, some like just Street Fighter in the FGC community.
And the Girls on Panzer community. Good show, you should watch it, by the way.
Yeah, so there are so many different communities. To say that all gamers must claim responsibility for shit that we haven't done is just say fuck you. And here I shared the tweet after he found out this was a hoax, which kind of pissed me off more. Was this? I shared a tweet from a supposed EA developer receiving death threats. Apparently, the person was not a developer. My most sincere apologies for spreading misinformation. I will always stand by the point that harassing someone online is not a thing you should do. Regardless, I'm sorry I let some trolls get the better of me. I will do better next time. Big thanks to Mombot and Jason Schrein. So he doesn't even apologize for the insults he gave to every fucking gamer.
Because, I understand the intentions of a lot of these people and game developers and gaming journalists when they say harassment isn't to be tolerated. And they're right. It shouldn't be tolerated. But the problem is you can't go blaming every random bystander for what happens. If a bystander notices that a house is on fire, you don't blame them for starting the fire just because they're looking at it. I mean, these people have to realize that there's a point where not even the best of intentions of the best gamers can stop anything. We had the Gamergate harassment patrol going around on Twitter for the first couple months of Gamergate, basically trying to report every profile that was sending death threats and stuff, and they couldn't stop it. They couldn't control it. Nobody could control it. Nobody anywhere can control this. Only China can. And I bet you any money that even within their great firewall, there are people they can't control spouting huge amounts of bullshit.
And even given that, like, anti-harassment patrol, we still had people were still not content with Gamergate's like main issues. Like, yeah, okay, now we're keeping trolls on ourselves. We're making sure that people who we think are assholes should be told to stop their shit, like disowned. But no, that's not enough. We're still being treated as the harassment campaign.
Yeah, which is why Gamergate histories like the books by Jim Desborough and Brad Glasgow, and even Gamergate Historia, if that project ever gets off the ground, are going to be so important because we'll have to present the sources and the facts. Because history doesn't care about your feels; it cares about the facts and what you can prove, not about what you think you can prove.
Yeah, and I just finding personally something, because he insulted every fucking gamer out there, saying you have to be better. You can't get someone to date you. Like, what the fuck? This is some serious accusations of all gamers out there.
Well, he's always one of those people trying to be on the fence about everything, trying not to take sides, trying to be the devil's advocate. But it really is sometimes just infuriating when the facts are so plainly evident. Like, plainly evident. Like, hey, Boogie, hey, you notice that telling people to stop harassing people doesn't get people to stop harassing people? Have you noticed that? You fat fuck?
Do you know what's funny about this?
What?
It's actually one of Boogie's videos that got him to look up Gamergate on Twitter. He did a video about Gamergate, and that's the one that got me to go onto Twitter and look up the hashtag. So
Yeah, well, you know, one good deed does not undo stupid actions, right?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he should know better.
Yeah, he should know better.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. So, you know, he's just one of those people who thinks they're morally superior to everyone else because they can see both sides of the argument. I see both sides of the argument. I still think Gamergate's on the right side of history, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
there's no way it can't be
the-
because these guys, all of them, they just all virtue signal to each other, don't they?
Yeah, and what really irritates me is that this guy claimed to be harassed by a feminist. So by his fucking logic, feminists have to do better.
Yeah. Well, they
All
do.
feminists are
Oh, yeah.
responsible.
So, because Anita Sarkeesian harassed him backstage, she and all other feminists should do better. That's why this is why they don't get dates with men and
He
women.
was apologizing for her. And
Yeah.
did you see the video after that VidCon? He was going like,
Yeah.
I understand why she said that to me because some gamers were assholes to her and stuff.
Yeah, and
Come on.
as a white privileged
Some
male,
backbone, man.
yeah, that guy has no fucking backbone. Being a fence sitter, never having an opinion about anything except for getting gifts from Microsoft and Sony for unpacking or unboxing games and consoles. Just shows how little of a backspine this fucking guy has.
I mean, sorry to insult a guy who has been who, like I said, has like red pilled people to Gamergate. Sorry to use that term, but you know, it feels appropriate.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Boogie,
He insults everyone with this shit.
Wait, Andrew. Boogie, if you ever, by some miracle, end up listening to this, why, dude? Just why? Do you seriously look at both sides and think both sides are equally freaking valid in their arguments? When the only fact that matters is that no one can control the actions of an irrational few. Like gun control, it doesn't matter how much you control guns. If some crazy asshole gets hold of one gun and decides to kill a few people with it, you couldn't have controlled that. You can't control for the actions of stupidity.
Yeah,
Boogie, why do you defend it? Why?
yeah.
Espouse stupid views.
Yeah, I just had to rant on this because I think it's so fucking stupid from this guy claiming moral high ground when he has no fucking backbone whatsoever. I don't want to rag on the guy too much, but I just felt it had to be said.
He does have no backbone, man. He always does this. No matter what it is, he always, like, even the Gamergate thing. After that video, about 2 or 3 videos later, he's like, "Oh no, I don't know about this. You shouldn't be doing this and stuff." It's just, oh, for fuck's sake, pick something, man.
Stick to your convictions, Boogie.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
Yeah, it shows integrity and that you have a character when you stand for what you think is right based on evidence and conviction and opinion. And
But actual evidence too, not just the opinions of your friends, Boogie.
yeah. So and if you're wrong, admit to it. That even shows more integrity. And this fucking guy hasn't done that whatsoever. He said he got the wrong information, but he didn't say he was wrong with the shit he accused gamers of being.
Yeah, because it's part of their narrative, the other side's narrative. And he wants to stay in the middle all the time. That's just him, though. It's just weird. I don't know if he does it to keep the views, to keep himself popular, and doesn't want to take a stance so he loses people or whatever. and if he just wants to stay in the middle so that his audience or half his audience or whatever doesn't go away because he's took a stand on something, or if that's just the way he is, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the way I understand it, and this could just be him trying to not get rid of trying to not scare away his audience. But if you feel like he's defensive because he really doesn't want to get too red-pilled, sorry to use the term.
Well,
At least PewDiePie stands by his conviction.
I was just about to say that. If there's anything to suggest otherwise, that people are gonna stick with you and you're gonna gain more respect and more subscribers, is PewDiePie, who is stuck by his guns against Wall Street Journal and all these. And I still think it's wrong that he apologized for that video in PUBG. But still, that guy.
I actually disagree with that. I think you say that word.
Yeah,
in this environment, if you apologize for it, that's fine. But stick by your rational convictions.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, that Fiverr video. Like, stick by your convictions. That was a legitimate joke. Like, I don't understand. I never understood the hubbub over that. It's literally a satire on how far people were able to go on that. And the fact that other people couldn't get that joke is, stick by your convictions on that. Like, if you say the N-word and stuff and people call you out on it, apologize for that. That is one of those words that when you say it, you kind of need to apologize, right?
Yeah, true, but I think it was in the heat of the moment. So, I've said.
He even apologized a second later. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
But
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's kind of small disagreement. Anyways, I think we've pretty much said everything, unless there's something else you would cover on this topic. Otherwise, I'm gonna stop the podcast here.
No, wait, Lena Dunham.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Lena Dunham.
What has she done?
Oh, what has she done? What has she done? A friend of hers, a writer on the show Girls, was accused of raping one of the actresses on the show when she was 17. And instead of this woman, this icon of feminism right now, this icon of purism, of holier than thou progressivism, who said that women do not lie about rape, suddenly believes that this woman is lying about is lying about being raped by her friend, because her friend gave her a lot of love in this world, and therefore she believes him more than the woman who claims she was raped.
She's not very feminist then, is she?
No, she's not. What a fucking cunt!
Yeah.
They all do this though. Like, it's just weird. They say shit and then they don't actually mean it when it comes down to it.
Yeah, when it really comes down to the line, these people don't stick to their principles, and their so-called beliefs.
Progressivism.
Yeah. So.
The
But
principles are stupid
this
anyway.
is the thing.
So.
Like, this is the thing. I feel like this comes back to this thing I mentioned earlier about Swedish journalists who have been accused of sexual rape and sexual confrontations or harassment or whatever. It's like, when it is a person even though you might be one of those progressives who are saying that, you should always believe someone when they claim they've been raped, and no, when it's their friend, they're going to turn on a dime and say, no, I don't believe you, because it's their friend. They would never do something like that. I know in this person for years.
Yeah, that mindset.
That
That mindset strikes to the very heart of everything we've been doing here since Gamergate began. It's like the cronyism in these feminist progressive circles and in games media is basically such that they'll call out other people's bad behavior, but when bad behavior is amongst them, oh no, we believe our friends more than we believe some random person on the internet who claims that that my friends are acting bad.
Yep.
The problem is ideology, as Milo said, and you have to attack it. And as much as you may disagree with Milo, or whatever his views are, as much as I disagree with him, that one point is salient in all these arguments, whether it be Gamergate, whether it be rape, or this so-called epidemic of sexual harassment and stuff. Like, it's the ideology you have to attack.
ideology and the arguments.
Yes. That's a perfect note to close things on, Andrade.
Okay, well, thank you guys for watching and see you guys next time. Bye.